It's my honour to read two letters which came after Uncle Rory's death. The first one is from his commanding officer, who was Lieutenant Lawrence Chater, a brother of General Chater, and also a brother of the one you just mentioned, I think. So it was written from Hampshire in England on the 9th of October 1915, addressed to his mother. Dear Mrs. Arnold, please accept my sympathy for the loss of your son Rory. Unfortunately, I have been invalided to England with fever, so was not at Anzac when it happened, but have heard from Captain Montgomery, who was there, that our regiment was holding the trenches at the top of Walker's Ridge, and your son was shot in the head by a sniper whom he was engaging. Lance Corporal Arnold's section were all fine shots, and he himself was elected to have one of the first telescopic rifles that came to Anzac. I can assure you that we all share with you the loss of a fearless and efficient soldier. I saw your other son, Brian, of Canterbury Infantry Battalion, about the middle of June, and he looked well. Yours sincerely, Lawrence Chater. The second letter was written by KJ Walker, who was a comrade of Uncle Rory's, and his address when he enlisted was 73 Tasman Street in Nelson, so he's a local as well. He wrote on the 30th of September from Fulham Hospital in the UK. Thinking perhaps some details of the circumstances in which my chum Arnold met his death may be welcome to his people, I am sending this to you. If you think it would be acceptable, could you forward it to his parents? We were occupying a portion of the front line trench, which is separated from the Turks' line by about 30 yards, the ground between being practically bare, so all shooting in daylight, except in cases of attack, done with periscopic rifles only. After dark, the men were all split into sections of 4, of which one man goes on duty for 2-hour shifts while the others rest, sitting up. The man on duty occupies himself, keeping a lookout over the parapet and shooting at the enemy's rifles, who are apparently similarly engaged, so your shot invariably brings a reply. Rory had finished his 2 hours duty and was on the point of standing down when he said, "Just a minute, I'll have one more shot." And at that moment he was struck. Death was instantaneous, and the boy did not suffer at all. The bullet entered his head, and at such close range, he would not have endured more than momentary pain. We buried him in the little regimental cemetery near the sea, where several of his pals, all too many of them, are now lying. The burial had to be at night, as this piece of ground is sniped during the day and unsafe. He was a huge favourite in the squadron. In fact, such a good-natured, good-hearted chap. His loss left a big gap in our sorely thinned ranks. He was also recognised as the best shot in the 10th Mounted Rifles, and was certainly one of the hardest toilers that we had. He was indefatigable, and though an NCO, invariably he did more work than the bulk of the men. And then he goes on to talk about his own wounds. So I'd just like to say, for all who we're remembering here, we will remember them.